Hey everybody, how's it going? First off, sorry about the lid and stuff in this one, but things just fake time. Anyway, time for catch up playthrough, and we're back to Ace Attorney Chronicles. I'm pretty sure we're at the end of the 5th case in the first game, and we're going to move on to the second. So we're probably going to wrap up the adventure of the unspoken story and move from there. Okay, so I made plenty of money. I spent nothing. I reached mid 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If we want to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. The girl himself showed me that. Or are you saying that? I forgive the picture now. After he twisted everything into his favor in this courtroom to ensure he walked free. I had the matters in my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. That tragic incident followed the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. Felix's death that day was caused by this man. Everything right, sir? You have to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? Too soon than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for myself. That policeman who came to tell McGillick that he could examine the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter, hired by me. McGillick used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people the alderates the omnibus with all manners of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGillick inside and sent him on a one-way trip journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. Spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. Loose end? Yes. I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGillick. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it being... There was no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remember something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGillick. This is the first of 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Windy Pank's pawnbrokery? Aye, it's a pawnbroker ticket, so it is. So you can use it to redeem an article I deposited for you. There's no need to give it a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fee in the watchword. I put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it so well. I've never heard of a pawnbroker being used in quite that way before. Have a night, Mr. Graydon. London's pawnbrokers are very useful, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. So I knew that if he had taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in a pawnbrokery book somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now. That's when we first met you at Windy Banks that afternoon 2 days ago. You had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony was clearly particular. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was not her McGillic's pawns. That he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket. So I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion that girl would come out of the woodworks on the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Windy Banks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGillic's overcoat and the one disc that was in his pocket. The all-important music box and the second disc inside were missing. Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGillic was involved. Inspector! You recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellas' possessions and examining them whenever we lay our hands on. We had full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it quiet as we could. As quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somehow. So I knew that I was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. That's what prompted you to bring them to the police that night. Same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery? I can only describe it as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box. I saw the McGillic on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes. I slipped it in my pocket with the fire sign of relief. Then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Bang. A gunshot rang in the shop. I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. Broke Farr's gun, and the bullet pierced your lung. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of the back as he fled from the storeroom for refuge. I'm sorry, a sorry tale. It all took place in a blink of an eye. Didn't imagine Nash and Regal had realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windybanks on that wretched night. Earlier, you called McGillick a monster. A man who uses wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. You become the very monster you saw and despise so deeply in McGillick. Yes, I think I have. Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. Tell me about it. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Grayson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's been restrained, my lord, and being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windybank and the stealing of the government secret. Very good. And you, Inspector Bradley, you have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains. Whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty, the crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Legina Lestrade. Yeah. It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir! Garb squad, standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the final whistle, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver the verdict. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now declare your final decision to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Hey. That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Reno. You finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I'm really not sure we come out on top for a while there. Susie is right. You're the best lawyer in the world. Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet. Eh? What? What are you looking at me like that for? Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certainly other crimes to consider, Eh? A few months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial day, not only did you unlawfully enter Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGillick's property, it seems. Eh? I never done nothing of the sorts. Of course not. Like you were clean wearing McGillick's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Aww. Your son's getting excited to throw a party for cheating that evening. And turning our attention to the defense, determining that, when played together, the music box disc containing the message of Morse code was, well, it was certainly the most unexpected revelations, Counsel. Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friends here today. I propose a toast to demanding that government secrets be decimated before the entire courtroom. Ah! I'm sorry about that. There's the only way I can get Inspector Grayson what he done, so if I may come into that on that point, isn't that it's about the design produced by the Music Box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying about that? Oh well, I find that I'm really rather fascinated when it comes to Morse code. A fanatic when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madame. And happy level of assertion one feels. I must say my opinion. Some produced by those two discs, but were nothing more than a meaningless seriousness of two different tones. What? What? And can that really be? Wasn't most part at all? Oh. Look, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. Are you up your nut? How many times have I to tell you those music discs contain ministerial secrets, sunshine? This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of government communications. We no longer conspire to trade national secrets with our enemy. Secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man admits to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But it's really going to bother me. Miss Lestrade? Yeah? Malone? Malone? That's what you have seen today here in this courtroom. Has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, prejudice, a growing category of depravity. An appalling experience to befall any child. Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see most of this in the back slums. I beg your pardon? If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Do you know? But look, I reckon I'll work something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want to change, you gotta start over. You gotta change how you are yourself. Well, that's a very lesson, I say. I eagerly look forward to the born again Lestrade. Never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Aye, with regards to the murder of Mr. Pop Windybanks, the of a pawnbroking business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Jean Lestrade, not guilty! Hey, it's confetti! And more fireworks! Who keeps lighting them off in here? And she's... Oh, that's Miss Fireworks. That's me. That's all. Court is adjourned. A personal note. I must say you surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Ah! Oh! Despite being Nipponese, you saw through pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman. And at the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English clan. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether you're from the Emperor of Great Britain, or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so different on the inside. No. I took this kiss for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponish, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew, and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Alright, then I'll wait for that day, if I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Billy, and my retirement from service 5 years ago. It gives me cause to wonder if Remain has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again. #17th of April, 5:24 p.m. The old Bailey defending a consumer. It's done. So we're lost. What? Where's Iris disappeared to? Ah! Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. No Odo. You believed in me right up to the end. You're as old as your name. What's all about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one's ever asked it before. No one ever asked before, see? Kept the promise, I mean, properly. It's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I never trusted no one. But that's just cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it's when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had tasted in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and pay for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, don't Gina? I worked some out quite recently too. Trusting someone else in someone else's really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you the right thing to do and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh well, if you say so. Don't make a little sense to me though. I'm trying to say, I put my faith in you, Gina. It's been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in! But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting somebody else is, you know, alright. Thanks. This is the way I see it. Bruno, stop. Yeah. Bruno's okay. Okay. And the fence owner is only as good as his faith in his clan. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Of this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean, Cosima. And I'm living up to your expectations. And I'm turning out to be the lawyer you believe I could be. Pardon the interruption. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Ah, that voice! Send forward that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner for room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along. I would have said that when you finally noticed me. You people! With your in-sentence babbling! I just love how the other ones just standing there like, really, mate? Really? Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Haha, yes, it was me all along! You see? I assume you've been thinking back to the hospital, to be honest. There it was! I managed to skip again! Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two below base of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge to them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. I very above board. But ado, but enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations on our order. As a close friend, I tip my hat off at you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. You're the being cold as ice, maybe. Wait, aren't you in some way, Miss Lestrade? Why even having a snooze in your nice old bed? Some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah well, that bullet did cause me to lose just a standing moment of blood, true. So I had intended to been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps cold as ice, but well, how about feel? Just take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes. And, in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so about it? Well, naturally, it was my intention to alarm you, but... an acquittal in the trial that with that particular prosecution is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the sense. Oh, the Reaper, yeah, I mean... was anyone found not guilty in the trial, he was supposed to winds up dead anyway, is that it? The 5 point I was trying to make. A supplication by the fate of Mr. McGillick, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational trials myself. Yeah, well, they don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs? Do you mean odd? Yeah. You know, Sarah knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. They won't have. I've got the wrong end of the stick. There are some codes like that, brothers, or rather rotten to the core. At the end of the day, ministers make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Fine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters in his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, it ain't like that. There ain't like the mechanics of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? A trait in which you wish to be admirable. Admired, Miss Lestrade. Oi! Just give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Harry! How long have you been here? He's dead. Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ah, Iris, my dear. I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. The Spur made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguises. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't know my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, Harry. You don't have the presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really have to be careful of that. It's gonna land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was hoping to throw a party for Junie tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm gonna be nowhere for a while. Look like I'm gonna be nowhere for a while. You're the judge's powder. I've got stuff to make amends for. Apparently, all them offenses. What was it again? Breaking an entry, taking up vulture stuff. What was in love, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find them. Basically, being a pickpocket is the main offense. But divin' in offense. It's a job, in it. I don't think so. Still, just got to be thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start for the Lord, did you, Udo? Well, no. I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all them like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. It's a wonderful idea, Ginny. I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing. Miss Jean, let's trade. The present carriage is arrived, ma'am. Come me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Odo? Yes? Ah! What? What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps this situation calls for a phrase missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh, yes! It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well... Thanks, Odo. Thank you for everything, what you've done, for believing in me. Not at all. In fact, That should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well, quite the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought the paper. It's a paper outside. It's a special edition, and there's trials all over the front page. Pickpocket innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? You're showing it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no! How silly of me. Ah, but anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Not again. Well, what do you say, Bruno? Huey? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not! I have no intention of listening to anything but good news! And there you have it. How people answer the question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped! It was a record level rainfall apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? A huge storm left the sea very choppy. The channels in particular are awful, so sailing out Dover has been delayed for a day or more. Wait! Huh? That's right. We head to the station immediately. We can still make it in time to wave Susie off. But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. Her and I should be there in time for dinner. And I know a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked salt. I don't. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of real transport directory phobies. What? I mean, it might not known to them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea. It might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? The London Victoria. 18th of April, 5:52 a.m. Port of Dover. Foreside. That took somewhat longer than I anticipated. Seaspoon must be about to leave now. Mr. Sano, where are you? Over there, look! Looks like he's just reading something.
Hold it!
Mr. Sano, wait! What are you doing? Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailing would be delayed due to bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. It's really wonderful news. The book you're about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worried of practicing law in any way now. So I say my final farewells. We're saying goodbye to the law. You, Susanna-san? Will I be correct in assuming it's because of the people, Miss Susano? I deliberately altered the scene of a crime. Then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly forgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introduction lesson, didn't she? The art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Bruno's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. A bond is very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it'd be fun to see if I could take the cut Flapomat. So I put it up my sleeve. Really? Then I rather forgot about it. Until I found myself in Windy Bank's shop with it later that night. See. And then... Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play in my mind. The storm door, you mean? Yes. If Tina were anywhere in the shop, I realized I could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So I used the lava mat to make the peephole in the door. As captured in the photographic print of the shop by one of Huey's red-handed recorders. Indeed. It was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally without proof, it wouldn't have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through on the door, the sight that met my eye made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remember the trial 2 months earlier. Trial of Magnus McGilly. I thought about how he manipulated the evidence to arrange false testimony to secure freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrifying thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windybank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right. Then I realized it would be very different from anyone who gave false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, crime appeared to have happened behind the door of the locked room. Someone to have claimed falsely to have witnessed it. There would have been a way to see beyond the door. Ah! Which a people would be the very thing. Only the people I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would not, so it wouldn't make any difference. The possibility was a rather ingenious trap was there. Was it not? Trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? Never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even to the police. I know. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to and Mr. Jones. This is not how Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into the corner. No other possible means of escape. The truth of the people could save him. That was my plan. He does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If you had done that, it would have rendered your the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you had been sent. You've been seen to knowingly tamper with the crime scene. So Mr. Sanders decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, I'd miss less trade. Mr. Sano. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, it was the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using up that people as a way to implicit Gina. Besides, if the people's inconsistency hadn't assisted, I'm not sure at all that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mr. Sano, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too from my regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in the trial will continue to play in my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box disc contained secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph! To work that out, I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh? It wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury, you see, a telegraph operator. She said that the majority of sounds in the discs were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all. We are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pi problem, I assure you. What? Well, that can't be the reverse, can it? Hey, funny. Wait, Iris, what did you say? Just say? Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? Hi! How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote down during the trial before, when the message was playing in the music box. Transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to decipher the interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries from around the world would have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own language. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. I think it's based on the Iroha program, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese code the message reads Asugi? Yep, I think so. Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Alright, so let me see that. Hisano, do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes! I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become very important for international communications. Then, my dear madam. Bet you focus your efforts on the English version. But that is a may. Alright, show me the message, please. Of course. But what could this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sentence of possibly meaningless dots and dashes. Made the color change from the sounds on his face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is K. Asugi. Kazuma Asugi. Why? Why is his name on that disc? Second, A. Shin. Shin? I'd recognize that name. The third is T. Gurugursen. Grayson? Ah, it would seem Topaz Grayson is the third man on the list. What's his name doing in secret government communication as well? And the last name? What's the matter, Mr. Sano? It's just so strange. So unexpected. Oh, what is this, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson. You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, translated from Japanese. That is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those lists contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a straight list of some extremely familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communications of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. That could be in Japan then, where Susie Murdo come from. Oh, well, no, it's not very likely, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine in the Imperial Yumi University. We'll contact Ash about that now. Just can't. So strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Winnie Bank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder. Perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to start sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamboat on the port of Durkin in France. Sorry, I'll sail on that steamboat first to Port Duncan in France. Then I'll change onto a large passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going in, Susie? We wish you a safe traffic passage, Mrs. Sano. Thank you so much. I wish you all the very best. Mr. Sato, I had hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. Aw, I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. Promise? About your manuscript. Ah, yes. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? You remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Burra, when I was dragged out of that wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with Susanna's takedown. You know I'm very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being friendly together as we were in that kiss, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Cosmo Sama's legacy. Susanna. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure, Dad. I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Was he? I didn't think about that thing. I think I keep hearing bits of Turnabout's sister. Oh, it's full cutscene.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
What an ending. Also, Sholmes was playing his violin. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have something rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? Because such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait stations. But really, we should never admit it to Dover in time. We would never admit it to Dover otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything, and how it was your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should have been delivered to your office tomorrow. But do not worry, my dear fellow, according to Mr. Sano. You love defending yourself in court. That's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. I really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Fellow Lloyd, my dear fellow. Oh, yes! I love those words. And I know just the one he'll use here. Then, I really must say...
Objection.
So that's the first episode. Well, the first of the duology. Honestly, yeah, fun game, fun story. Oh man, those trials were interesting. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street all over Europe. Something was afoot. So it transpired that I ordered them all myself. So I advertised in the sale with, used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case. And the money I earned, consulting the detective were paid as a penance by conversion. I did like that the second case was a investigation over a trial and stuff, so it was very likely ones. I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due tomorrow night. When I'm this busy, Huey usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cook is an overstatement. For at least dry toast and some coffees. You Miss Susanna and her lovely Japanese breakfast. Yeah, the music's really good. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Rarely do rare Coben coins hiding on the rare stakes themselves. If I don't know knows his father is in a demand, or are you calling my son a liar? This, my courtroom's no place for your petty arguments. And like I said, there was another episode of this. We'll go straight to it. No point in me having itself here. Having delivered the Russian dancer to the shores of Shanghai, I laid low on Steeple for a while. Last night, I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national boy. I'd done nothing wrong! All I did was give Ace offspring refuge in my pocket. A man brings some kittens on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal? It's not fair! Oh yeah, I have a lot of fun doing the deductions and stuff, so there's just moments I've had deductions. I've had fun, like obviously deductions and whatnot. Scientific investigations were the gold standard for policing in the new age. I dream of a world governed by the tenets of law and discipline. Like a cloak, in fact, where hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you excuse me, I have 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. I don't think I had really much thought for the game. All the kids were fun. The latest round this magazine night, and I'm in it again. Whenever it says that I'm going to true night, I get Stitch New Board. Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Her leadership puts me to shame. But of the 5 cases, which was my favorite and which was my least? If it's a new girl on a daily basis, of course. You're only my old job, bud. Must say, following those Bailey stars every day has done wonders for you. Managing rather well with the housework too. But the house me tipped up, I say. Hope the gossipy neighbors will realize that the house is his own maid. I honestly do think this third case is my least favorite, the third case. I think the 4th is my favorite, 4th or 5th. My Rolly's back on the beat again. Oh, thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more He stands and 108 small changes in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners and their drop hop knees and my lovely wife. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. I like those starts are still going. But no, I'm going to at least do the second one as well, so then I can have kind of overthrow my favorites of the whole thing. Looks like I'm going to be doing time for a bit now. But ours comes every day for another. So it ain't too boring. You saw what's going on about on in cases with what Sherlock's looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into them. It's not the bit about where I would put this as in the Pink Strike, the Ace Attorney games. Yes, I renounce my upbringings and choose the life of sophisticated crime. Regrets, please. Over here, bruv. This ain't the Ash we used to know. We got time in the planet, come back on mountain, stuck in smoke run, right? Free Muskowitz. Milk in the neighborhood for us, woof. I think this is the first time I've actually seen the one of the actual, yeah, the one who committed it actually get an end one. This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Now, Horizon, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. I still have a picture. Thank God. Well then. There's more? Oh! Look at this, is actually nice. We're on all over for this one. Look at that. As you want a few times, you can see proper. Oh, okay. Wonder if the inspector is going to be in different costume. Yeah, the fact that we're going through like the entire trials. Okay. Oh yeah, no, we're going to do the second one after this. Let's look at both of these games done, and then we'll take a little break from the Ace Attorney and do something else. And then we'll come back to... Oh, he did! He did. He's nice. Healer. Really is just going through all of them. The cases. I suppose the voice actor is actually good as well. But... Oh, Suki stops. Oh, right. Suki's there because that's when his part of the journey ends. Oh, okay. So that's basically you're going for a chronicle of the event. Oh yeah, so probably talk about the the jury thing of this game. It was interesting. Actually, to say the least, like, the Jure. Can be a pain the jury one, but it was still fun. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing if second and third. There's a top up man. Got his name. Oh. Yeah, so really you're just kind of okay. Yeah, still looking forward to it. Oh. But yeah. I'm curious to see what the second one is. I've known what the other one is. So I'll just have to say. Oh, it shows with. I said I looked at my first. Oh, now it shows it. Okay, I said I was looking for right for a split second. Oh, we got the boot in the ring. Oh, there's Fanseek. What's he gonna do? Just fold his arms. Okay. Okay. You stand up. Oh. Yeah. I said if this was just the first game, we only got the first game, and I'd be curious to see what the second one would have entailed. But as the second game is here, and we can play right now, we'll play right now. Elementary. The Great Ace Attorney Adventures. In at least the first episode. We've got another episode. We've got the second adventure to go through. Well, let's brace yourselves. It's going to be another month of this. Ooh, love that. That's a nice artwork. Sogin Naruhodo. Now the journey continues. Oh. Not for there. Time to go to the Resolve. Ooh. Aww.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Buy myself this one or crime. Oh, she's back!
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer. So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
So we're Susanoo this time around. Episode 1. The Adventures of the Blossoming Attorney. "13th of August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicial Defendants Antechamber. 3. Here I am again, after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicial of Japan. Oops. Oh, we have no court records. I'm so nervous. But I must have must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. What a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet. And those wide eyes aren't doing you here either. Oh dear. Truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Yujin Mikutaba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yumi University. A man who, early in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances of forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? Would I be correct in thinking that you'll be my lawyer in court today? Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear my life. It's completely fabricated. This whole thing. Rai Membai, born the same year as I, my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, you have become a bit flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness. I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It seems our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh? What do you mean, Professor Mikutaba? If ever your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before. Of course, I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? It's not you, Susanoo? No! What's going? What do you do? What's going on? What? Study uniform, diversity cap, study cap, diversity badge. Look at you! You look for all the world just like the Imperial Yumi University, a male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparation has been worthwhile. I woke up 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she could be permitted into the Supreme Court to take your defense in his trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at being born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, men, male and female alike. Current times, remember. But women are forbidden. Just for the day, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door. So I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susano. Go to such lengths for me? Of course. You're my greatest friend. I'm just worried that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you, Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? So guy and dashing. Ray? You still look at me like that? Those flushed cheeks and dotting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. Hahaha. You should be pleased. It means you're convincing as a man. I'm pleased. Think it certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped and how your tread going ever so slightly. Sano, you believe me, don't you? And do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. The conscience is perfectly clear. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean! I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. That's why I stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be by your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susano. Defendant, counsel! Court is open to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go on at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh! Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer? There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. Father. You haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how I came to this. Yes, quite right. I kept that information from her. If it only were her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burn her with that. And it's true. The reason why every other lawyer refuses to take the case is really because who the victim was. We should be making a move now too. As you know, law is my field. I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. Oh, this is going to be an interesting trial, to say the least. I'm just no Biku Taba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times I wish that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. 13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicial Courtroom 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Menbane. Prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Defense Counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready! Ah, yes, Counsel. According to your record detail, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo, is that correct? Sorry? Oh yes, I have come up with a suitable male name for your little venture. So I'm afraid to say that I simply put in the first name that sprung to mind. Well, Counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro. He who fights to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. Ah. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his only act first and not overdo it. And those wide, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be... You may be thinking of Ririnu Saki Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousins. That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the province, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in the matter of law, his knowledge rivals that of in Tokyo pre-eminent lawyer. Any of them. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. Hey Dory! Seno is every bit of gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Oh, please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. Just that I'm standing in his shoes, I suddenly understand what the song goes for. Like it or not, eyes are bones to feel it. Oh wow, it's the eye movements. In the attorney, there really must be a kick me sign behind that back on their back. The case is to be heard today is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet for proceedings for such importance, we have this unknown Yoko by the dock near me. Perhaps this will be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are suitable competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruto stood where you're standing now. The same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this would be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. She doesn't do it! Yes, Your Excellency. But please do make them simple. Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim. That is simple. You'd forget that if I tried. Huh. What's the matter? Now that I'm saying his use, I understand. Someone else now who's on goes through. Like it or not, mines are won't to blank. Not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under circumstances. What would you hear? This is a failure. Don't fret. You need only the knowledge you gained as your judicial assistant to overcome the problems. Of course, the court records! Yes, the answer will be amongst the key information about the case in the court records. That's right. Use the R1 button to open the court records. Or anything else. Then you need to flip to the people section with the R1 button or other button if you're on other consoles. Don't take long. Don't take too long over it. His Excellency was watching you closely. Alright, check the court records button. That's where I'll find the information I need to be. Okay, so Jessup, red, female, British, obviously victim. Time of death, 11th of August, at around 2 PM. Ascertained by examination of witness testimony. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung, and resulting in fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Note, extreme pupils constricted, was observed in the victim in both eyes. By using his medical student, he's the authority for medicine in charge of the university's laboratory. He also happens to be my father. Ray Monterey, 16, my best friend, who works as an assistant to my father in his laboratory at the Imperial Yumi University. She's the defendant in this case. Jessamine Barrett, victim of the case, who was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of a visiting professor, Dr. John Wilson, and Takatsuchi Achi, the lead prosecutor in the case, who appears to be struggling to accept the changes afoot as a result of the disturbance new times in Japan, the Meiji era. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Yes!
Hey! The name of the victim who lost her life in this case, Miss Jessie. Jessamine Baran. Name that will never be forgotten in this courtroom of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire Drizzle, you will be aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Red was a visiting student from the Great Empire of Britain. Why then is her name and death associated with our Empire judicial history? Obviously, you will have forgotten the case from 9 months ago. But from how to recall the finer points, everything is included in the court records. Obviously, I still remember the start of everything. Jasmine Barrett? Behind him was a victim. Sorry, like behind the woman's student persona was the face of a killer.
Yes!
Oh, she's got a red bud. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine in the Imperial Yumi University was killed, and the culprit was Jessamine Barrett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a treaty with the Emperor of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John Hitchwilson, shot dead. I believe he is an associate of yours, Professor Mugutaba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He had been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student in the Imperial Yumi University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosaki Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense. And exposed to the pick of crime committed by Miss Jessamine Barrett. Miss Brett eventually admitted her crime. However, when questioned about the motives that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the child reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its considered judicial from the play. We were unable to sentence Mrs. Barrett according to our Imperial Empire laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consul court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remains from her Empire's obligation was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed. Only the day before? That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is significantly capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Only the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Achi? As you wish, Your Excellency. As is your wish. The repugnant crimes took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bridge, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea, the incident occurred inside a small beach hut. Every day for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal. There was two persons alone together in the bath hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her baby attire, and the accused Ray Mambar. Accordingly, there can be no doubt that the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene to promptly arrest the young lady. Well, that extraordinary description of events leave me some lost for words, I must say. It's certainly true. Prosecution summary. It's full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As lawyer, I really ought to pick the prosecutor's and what he said about it. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motives is a blatant overstatement. Is the Yoko boy using low words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the Huey, shall we? Barry-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yumi University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikuta in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that the defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikuta, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Mr. Britt 9 months ago? The accused has a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him. Well, obviously it was filled with hatred for what you've done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray! Be careful what you're saying. Ah. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I'll show you more details. You use the bolster of defense. Where I... Mambari-san? Yes, what is it? Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we made my alias Rintoro Susano. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Red for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Red as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this woman accompanied Miss Red on her bathing patrol. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No! Because, as we know, the following day we see Miss Barrett. It's extradited to the Malaysian authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Kindly refrain from conjectures, counsel. Prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using probable tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to establish more facts. Try not to let him go to. Oh dear. What is really terrifying? Water strike. Need more information. If I may, what's your Archie? What do you want, you fresh-faced young Yuko student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. My apologies. Leaving modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin simple mind. Bathing spots are the latest trend in healthy practices from the West. We are told that being in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents on purpose, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing the sea? For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to be deported for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. But on what grounds would you agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of an old criminal. Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I! In any case, it was decided that with the dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look at me! It was that young student girl who did it, not I! No one has proven that yet. I won't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brown managed to avoid incarnation, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of the mentor of whom she had such great respect enjoy such undeservedly liberty. Yes, if it were only temporary until Miss Red's extradition to Shanghai. I can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you would be so kind to peruse this exhibit, a photograph print showing the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Thank you, Consul. A tragic image. The swan! As you can clearly see, there was nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. The court will accept this photographic print as evidence, and is now been added to the court record. As I understand then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach at the time. I just magnifying glass. What is that? That's wine. Wow. And there's a cup there. Okay. There's a lot more information. Go on. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger gut points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to this case. We intend to prove that the accuser's appalling actions beyond all possible contentions. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses of the crime with damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? One of whom, might I add, is a highly respected police detective. Now, sure, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. I have a bad feeling. I think I know who this police detective is. Very well then, Consul. Bring forward your witnesses. I, Takasuji Achi, have been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago, here in this very courtroom. When that airplane little student boy utterly humiliated me. Hold on. Yes? Oh, right. This insult to the Achi family name will never be forgotten. You become inconsistent with age, Council. But the old need has to stand aside to make way for the new. It is the way of the world. May you never forget that. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. Started her own mini Meiji revolution. Are you monetizing as well, Council? Silence! This war of fans back then, there has been a minor miracle off the top of my head. Ha! Sir, the HG grows. You see the seed of hope spreading forth from the green expanse of my crown. I think that tiny groove is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is this hope exactly? Sit silence! Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will fight for you. It will be, and my victory will be paralyzed for the seed of hope atop my head. I've been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witness to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides of this trial. The prosecution and the defense each have much to lose. A haircut is hardly compared to Ray's life. Oh. Oh. Oh no! One I was suspecting. The second was someone that was completely out of left field. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hazunaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. I'm, well, the next big thing in books. An offer renowned for at the capital. Yes, in fact. Soon to be sold! I am a cat. It's this essential success by Suki Nasumi. Oh my goodness! Struggling students from the problems to see. Please, you needn't be in all of me. I needn't? It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. With all of you, please relax. Call me Suzuki. Yes. What are Suzuki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Susano. That offer fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? He exposed you for who you really are. This will be over before we got. Yes! Yes, of course, I know. I presume Suzuki-san would not have forgotten, but I could certainly never forget him. Though he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that has been since I last saw him. And as for the Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing uniform is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Guilty hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's the disguise, is it? He's got a turtle! I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time make a more faithful testimony. Or a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why the Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have been in the scene, Suzuki-san? Ah, well, you see, I have been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yumi University Grand Lecture Hall, no less. Yumi University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikutaba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. Secret insight, snapshots, scribble stories, and sculpture my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read at your leisure, my province, struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you so much! You're the paper of me. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, we'll have fun. Well, God's gotten bigger and wow! He even does the pose in the paper. The leading question appeared amid a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course. Which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her. The detective. I'm at liberty to divulge. It was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Osanaga. Thereby, the entire party, the part of coordinating for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public up from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Oh my, Inspector, you have something on your face now. Oh, hi, unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. Unfortunately, of course, it means that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But I had never seen that awful sight. Relentlessly wrecked! Right! Very well, I must ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all you witnesses on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret I am. Also, is this a different quote this time? The witness is saying, on the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch a crowd when I suddenly heard a and walls from behind me. I ran to the beachhead at once, where I found the pearl in question. Yes, yes, yes! That young girl was distracted. The Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed. This appeared from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Aye, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that it was. Damning evidence. What have you there? Pencil. A so-called fountain pen, it seems? Correct, Your Excellency. I found at the scene while examining the body. It appears that her damn moments were her final ounce of strength. The victim clutched a piece of evidence that could possibly identify her killer. What? Your Excellency? If you would catch your eyes over the photographic print of the scene of the crime once more. Oh, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right. The fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have the engravement on the barrel. R.M. Ray Manbury. The initials of the defendant. No! Ow! I think she fell back more. This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. And it's neither the court records. So, have I admitted anything? Besides the testimony and damning evidence? Ah, I can't examine the pen! There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather for a ascribed guilt, I feel. Don't understand. The prosecutor's is 9 months ago. Has none of this man's poise. And for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Now, Horo-san! Oh, hello. That means... Oh, yes! Me! Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin, Ryutaro, put yourself together, please. Alright. I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony to prove that they are lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. Let's see what I can do.
Hold it!
And not jolly disguise. Correct. Up. Sorry. What? Wait, no! I mean, it was the first time I've worn a swimsuit for the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the Englishwoman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And that's this try and test outfit was the answer? Despite able to blend flawlessly into the crowd as an important part of a detective job, I submerged myself in salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water. But there's no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really, was there? If that means you later arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of question any further at the moment.
Hold it!
You're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Suzuki-san. In more literature, you might say it was a scream that could pierce the heavens. Yeah! Or the likes. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We were known to authors are wont to describe things so. Suzuki Sam wasn't all like this in England. Anyway, I spurred around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministries. Many have seen dive retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure erected at a place for the people to change and take refuge from the sun. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which means that I was forced to change into my swimsuit in the sun. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut on a run. Or, in a more literal terms, I decrowed and beetle off hut-wise.
Hold it!
Oh, about 20 minutes and all that. Wait, by per? You didn't mean to say... How could that be? No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I mean the victim and the defendant, Ray Bombani-san. Oh. It would have been helpful if you just said that from the outside. If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes. Hear me, pinning your hopes on such a nice side chance. Foolish, very foolish. I really was a nice side chance. I just wish I realized that sooner. I realized that before I said something silly. So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned purr in the hut? Well, it was a sorry sight. A rather grisly scene. I parked the northern curtains hanging in the doorway and stepped aside, only to see the defendant lean menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled in the sun. My glasses very nearly cracked the ominous sight that met my eyes. I thoroughly apologize. Doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Suzuki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Suzuki was saying, I wonder? Ah. You like a literature-man's opinion?
Hold it!
Okay. Stab wildly. You actually started, dude. Alright. Oh, indeed. A terrible inspector! A terrible inspector! A blade torrent! The offer stormed! Every sight and sound and every sound is still carved in my memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation. Cancel! Where was a shrill and feminine scream? Oh, no, no. What are you insinuating? I'm as smelly as I wonder if I might interject here, Suzuki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. For your Roshers night, I believe. Ah, so you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you described? No, I mean, yes! I mean, I know what I saw! My ears didn't see me when I heard the scream. Hence my eyes didn't see me either. I can describe everything so vividly. I could publish it on tomorrow's newspaper serial. It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat and may take a matchroom turn. I think this is a false errand. The more we pressure off our friend than what I saw, the more entranced he's going to become. Oh dear. I Oberg.
Hold it!
She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be sure of that? Okay. Very simple. From blood in the blade. What? The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air. Yes, that's right! I saw it too! Oh. Sorry. And I knew that there were blood on the blade already at this point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene. Yes, that's right! I saw it too! And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which, I can be sure, the victim did not die instantly. Yes, just right! Saw it too! Maybe near them was too much for him. Sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry off testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it is in your guiding principles to protect the victim flawlessly. Burn. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Turtle! Pencil! You are very provocative witness. Turtleson. Yeah. It's Onaga? Sure. The turtle can definitely be. Oh no. I have so many false warnings in my head. Well, this all I can do is stand here, wide-eyed and mute. Yes, my dear. You really must try to calm down. But how can I supposed to find inconsistencies in what those two gentlemen were saying? I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie. What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons. A misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, delusion, even. Ah, a delusion. What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one way we can do that. Yes, with evidence, of course. Spoken like a true judicial assistant. Determine the assessment, you can press button to back a piece of evidence that presents evidence for consideration. You listen to current each statement and compare what's said to the detail in the court record. If you find some conflicting information, there may be an inconsistency you're looking for. Yes, it's all about inconsistencies. Once you identify the witness's statement that appears to conflict with a piece of evidence, present the evidence to the witness with button. And the way ahead will present it to you, I'm sure. Yes! Alright then. I'll consider the details of the evidence in the court records against each statement to find inconsistency. I hope I'm up to the task. Don't forget that you have the witness repeating their statements as many times as you like. everyone has to start at the beginning, remember? So those white eyes are quite forgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl. You're right. And you listen to the testimony you gave from the start. Yeah, I mean, we're done with this anyway. I already know it. This says single stab.
Objection!
But that occurs a cry that just welled up from deep inside me. I think I finally understand. Every time Kazu-san and Naruhodo-san had stood here in this bench, that stakes have been fair. The stakes have been very, very high indeed. What does it mean, this menacing pose? Pencil. I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? Oh! Not you, Suzuki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. Not me. In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the victim was already standing over the victim, blade knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Ah! In other words, Inspector Honosaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Ah! And Suzuki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Manbari-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Just did wildly. But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point. There was already blood on the knife when you saw the defendant's home. Yes, and it's quite simple. We knew the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way that there could be blood in the knife if a single stabbing hadn't already occurred. True. Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Suzuki-san in fact saw was not the moment of the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't be! Excellent work, Susanna. You exploded them without objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I see there are your cousin's stages scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show. You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half had her. Ouch! Slander! My head is quite undoubtedly dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes no difference. What? Why not? Get your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was at that moment she had just withdrew the blade, ready for her next strike. That witness saw. The knife was already tainted with blood, because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache offer is prone to moments of exaggeration. Ark! I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding a knife blade at all, that is significant grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicions. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we're back to where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young Yoko boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim with the demon's Coppola composure too? The prosecution demands an explanation. That better be good. Where did Ray pull the knife? Ah, yes. Going for the Jaguar. That's what I mean by that. The court here answers then, Counsel. Truth is, I don't really know. I'm saving. But I have to come up with a possible reason here. We don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife out of the victim's side was surely good. According to the postmortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's though she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining an injury. Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. But the point is, being a medical research assistant, Mabai-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the knife out in an attempt to save Miss Red's life. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It seems that it's the best we can expect from this young Yoko. Indeed. Just me. Or does this suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect of the slip who is searched and just put forward by Yoko's defense counsel, I mean. Slips? Hold on. An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young Yoko happened to be of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. Very well, Inspector. I permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do it so flawlessly. We'll push a little bit forward in this one. Pulling up Blair from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense will know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago. Dr. Wilson was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Actually, no, we'll get to the... Is what you... The true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause a wound to bleed heavily? Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound to prevent excessive blood loss. Until the doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, a stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. This is why Yoko should stay on the farms. Even a quack from some juice-minded village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife up and pull out in Noted. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. Or pull up blood everyone, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Oh, is that true? What's they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would know more of it. If you were to claim ignorance for such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Then why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled the knife with full knowledge, in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Red? Oh no. I never once mentioned anything about the necktie. It seems almost a possibility, but my friend actually have Sano. Yes, hold yourself together. You mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Ah, that's all. It's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established fact, I will be moving my adjudication immediately afterwards. I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Okie doke. Yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap up now. Yeah. We'll cut it short a bit there. Kind of. Anyway, well, thanks up here. Thanks for tuning in. Hope it's like a day, hope it's like a week, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hope you start seeing things on news. Thank you for watching. I hope you're out seeing things. We'll be back on this, well, because the way things are, schedule's gonna be a little bit weird. So anyone watching this Twitch knows it's gonna be Wednesday, but for those who are watching on YouTube, it'll be up 2 days later. And then we're running for the same schedule as usual for this week at least. So that's all I do. Hope you all have a good day. Hope it's a good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.